Hello, 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 and welcome to another live ukulele lesson with me, Matt Stead. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at one of my favourite Beatles songs of all time, John Lennon's Across the Universe. This is a really interesting song. It was recorded as a demo originally, and interestingly featured two backing singers, two young girls off the street who are not off the street, makes it sound like they're homeless. Two fans that were outside the recording studio came in and sang on the original, and it was released as part of a charity compilation. But eventually it was finished off properly and then handed over to Phil Spector as part of the Let It Be album, and the rest is history, right? It's just a brilliant, brilliant song. John Lennon himself, interestingly, was never massively happy with it. He always wished that Paul McCartney had had more of an input into it, maybe wrote a middle eight and it contributed some bass. So John Lennon always said he never got a version of it that he really, really loved. But interestingly, David Bowie covered it, and John Lennon loved David Bowie's cover. But I think it's an absolutely beautiful song. Anyway, eventually released on the album Let It Be. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our time with it today. We're going to go really slowly because there's a lot going on here. And I'll teach you the chords and how it's working, a little bit of the song structure. Then we'll look at how to play it chord melody style, which should be really, really good fun. And I'll teach you some fingerstyle techniques as we go, of course, as well. Hi Stuart, hi Rebecca, I hope you're all keeping well. Don't forget, you can still download the sheets if you haven't already. You can get them on my PayHip site for £5, which gives you the full worksheets, including the melody and the chord melody. And of course, you can also, if you're a member of my website, gold or silver member, you get these sheets for no extra cost, so you can download them from the members section. Hi Karen, hope you're doing well out there in Canada. Any news on the forest fires? Have they died down a bit? I've been praying for rain for you, so been doing my rain dance. Maybe it has. So yeah, that's available. I'll bring it on screen as much as I can, but obviously it does look quite small on screen in terms of the arrangement and stuff. But I'll try and get it on up there as much as I can so everyone can take part. Hi Karen, hope you're doing well. A few things to tell you about. First of all, I just wanted to... Oh, no worries, it's Angela. Got you. She's on Stuart's computer. Sorry, Angela. I'll try and remember that for next time as well, if it pops up. Hi, Angela. Hi, Wayne. Hope you're doing well over there. Hope the weather's treating you well. So yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to just say a massive thank you to everyone that supported me over the last couple of years. I put a lot of work into all these arrangements. It usually takes me about a week or so to produce them, and then obviously record them, script them and score them and everything. It takes yonks. But you guys have supported me for the whole process, even when it takes me a while to do them and we don't get regular Beatles lessons. I originally intended to do one every week in terms of the on the course lessons, but it tends to be every 2 or 3 weeks. But I wanted to say a massive thank you because I reached a bit of a milestone today. Ta-da! I reached my 50,000th subscriber, or 50,001, which is quite a big deal for me. You might have noticed I've been doing a lot of kind of rebranding of the channel, trying to make it a little bit more accessible. But I've also had a little bit of a help with the algorithms and everything and how to hit them. So it's been really good for me. Last month it's really shot up, and I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, get on there, click that subscribe button, and you know what they all say. I'm not very good at this stuff, am I? Yeah, come and support me. There's also, if you're into your Beatles, we've got the last full lesson I recorded on the course's lovely version of Strawberry Fields Forever, and I'm going to perform that at Shriekfest in a couple of weeks, which should be loads of fun. And some of you UK peeps are going to come and join me on stage. We're going to have a nice psychedelic choir whilst I sing 3 of the numbers, which is going to be loads of fun. What else have we got? Our next live lesson after this one is going to be a live Q&A. I always love these Q&As. They have a real sense of community. And you guys always come up with some brilliant questions and it's just so much fun. So because festival season is upon us, I thought it would be nice to do a whole event, a whole live lesson on questions and answers about overcoming that anxiety and nerves when you perform. I get them all the time, even when I play these pieces back for you guys live. You'll notice I often fumble and make a mistake. I have terrible performance anxiety, but I'm going to turn that into a positive, and I'll share with you all the little tricks and tips that I've learned over the years to try and help you guys. So it doesn't matter whether you're playing to 50,000 people, whether you're playing an open mic in your local pub, or even if you're just recording a video for yourself, all of these tips and tricks will help you with that. And I've created some worksheets as well, so you don't have to scribble down notes whilst we're talking. You can just enjoy it. So that's exactly 2 weeks today we're going to be doing this one. If you've got any questions about your performing and you'd like to send them in, just ping them over to matt@mattsteadukulele.com, or just mention them in any of the comments on Facebook, and I'll bring as many as you guys on to ask questions as I can. Okay, I reckon we should get some Beatles on and have a look at this song. I guess before anything, perhaps if I just do a little run through of what it will sound like. As I say, I get performance anxiety myself, so I'll probably go wrong in this. But just to give you some idea, it does go on for about 5 minutes, so if anyone falls asleep during this process, I won't be offended at all. But I'll just play it through for you roughly so you can get an idea. There's quite a lot of back and forth in terms of where the song goes on this one, so perhaps just see if you can follow it as best as you can on your sheets, and I'll teach you all the different places it goes and everything, and all the way it goes. But I'll just do a little rough version for you. Let me bring in the close cam like that. Okay, so here we go. There we go, guys. Couple of bumbles there, but not too bad. I managed to get through that. Okay, so maybe I've been taking my own advice on performance anxiety. That's always good, right? So that's the piece. I think what we'll do first of all is just break it down into parts, kind of explore what's going on in terms of the structure and the chords and everything. Oh, and I missed some of you whilst I was playing. Hi, Steve. I hope you're doing well. Charlene's here, fantastic. Sherry and Sarah, yay! I'll see you at Shriekfest. I cannot wait. I'll try and wear my butterfly t-shirt, Sarah, so you'll be able to spot me. And you can come and be part of my psychedelic band. It's going to be loads of fun. Fantastic, guys. Okay. So the song is kind of really, really simple in terms of its structure, but it has lots of little variations. That's why it's so long in terms of the piece and in terms of the arrangement. So we basically have verses and choruses in various ways. Thanks, Kev. And sometimes they kind of weave in and out. Sometimes they include bits, other times they don't. But basically, we're in the key of C, so nice, straightforward key. The original was actually in C sharp. I think John Lennon recorded it in D, and then they slowed the tape down to C sharp to give it more of a kind of relaxed feel. The Beatles were always speeding up and slowing down tapes at this time, weren't they, after Sgt. Pepper and everything. So I've kept it to the key of C, thanks Sarah, to keep it nice and simple. And the verses are kind of interesting. If we have a look at the chords, that's just literally just the bog standard chords if we're strumming. No worries, Tim. Good that you made it. Hope you're keeping well. Slept in until 4:30. Tim's on Hawaiian time. That's amazing. Well done, mate. I'm very, very impressed. So we start the verse with just a simple C chord. This is just the simple if we're just strumming and singing it. Words are flowing out like endless. Then to an E minor. That's a really sad sounding chord in the key of C. Rain until a paper cup Then we go down to a D minor, sliver wildly as they slipper. And then we've got a lovely G to G7, away across the universe. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the start of the verse. Rebecca, do you know what? I'm not very good at explaining physics stuff, but it is interesting. Rebecca was just saying, why does slowing down or speeding up change the key? So I guess it's to do with how fast that tape goes through the reel, because originally it would have been on tape. And when they slow down the tape, if you kind of think about, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, they speak like this because everything's sped up. When you slow down tape, it slows down the voice as well, and that voice dips in pitch. I'm not sure of the physics why, but yeah, that's the Beatles use that quite often. Interestingly, on Pet Sounds, Brian Wilson does a similar thing on Caroline No, where actually he went the other way and he sped the tape up to have a brighter sound on his voice. So yeah, they're always messing about with ideas, and just amazing considering the resources they had back then. They were literally speeding up and slowing down tape. One of the production guys at Abbey Road, interestingly, sorry, properly nerding out now, he basically invented the way to slow down the tape to a consistent level. And what they did is they just reduced the voltage going into the tape machine to a very specific lower voltage, and it slowed it down. Anyway, yeah, that's why they did it. And it just makes it sound more relaxed, basically. So, yeah. So that's the basic chords of the first half of the verse. So far relatively straightforward. Maybe strum along with me. You could just strum a C and then E minor, D minor, etc. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They sliver wildly as they slip away across the universe. And then we have another C, as you would expect. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind. Now this is really interesting on measure, where is it? Measure 10. This is something John Lennon did a lot as well in the later days of the Beatles. He changes the time signature, basically. It's just a way of kind of ending a verse before you expect it's going to come. So notice that measure with the D minor on is only 2 beats. It's 2/4 timing. So it's just kind of twice as quick as a normal measure, if you like, or or half as long, I should say. Possessing and then it goes to a D minor, caressing me, which kind of creates tension, a bit like a 5 chord, but a lot more melancholic. Now, this is, again, just kind of nerdy stuff. I just think it's interesting. What people find interesting mostly about this song is if you listen to the vocals, you never get the cadence at the end of a line of going back to the 1 chord. So most musicians would have done something like this. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They sliver wildly as they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind. This bit, possessing and caressing me. Most musicians would resolve it to a C at the end, or finish on the 5 chord going to the chorus. So it's really unusual that across the universe, it never resolves to across the universe, which is what most people will do. Just an interesting bit of information, if you like. The choruses are really, really simple. We just have a C chord, and this is where he sings Jai Guru Deva Om. This is from their time in Marrakesh. Basically means all glory to the Guru Dev, if you're into all that sort of thing. So we have a C chord, Jai Guru Deva, then D minor or D minor 7, Om, G7. Nothing's gonna change my world. Then F to C. Nothing's gonna change my world. And then we do it again. G7. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Let's keep going. So we'll go from this C here. Let's just keep, you can strum along with me if you like. Just the basic chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Force me under like a restless letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Now, can you see here we've got a DSL coda? What does that mean? Don't panic, don't panic. It's just an Italian musical term, da segna al coda, which means we go back to the segna mark. That's the one that looks like a little percentage sign. Do you see it there at the end of the third line there? So we just go back to that bit. That's all it means, and we carry on. It's just, otherwise this song would be about 8 sheets long. It's still 4 sheets or 5, I think, as it is. But let's go from there. So we're going to go from the C chord here, okay? And we're going to do another chorus. 2, 3, 4. Jai Guru Deva Om. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Then we've got the next page. Let me just flip it. Another G7. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. And then here, can you see it says to coda? So at this point we jump to the third page. Don't worry, I'll explain all this when we're looking at it in detail. But see on this page, where is it? No, we don't. It's the fourth page, isn't it? Where is it? Oh, it's all right. I'm looking at I was looking at the chord melody version. So we jump to this bit here. This bit here that has the target sign. Okay, so that's another verse. Now notice that this verse is slightly different from the other ones. Have a listen. It kind of resolves to that F minor a little bit different, which is why everything gets a little bit complex. But you'll see. Just follow me from this C with the target sign. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. And then we've got another normal chorus, okay? Limitless, undying love. Can't change the pages quick enough. That shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Another chorus. J Guru Deva Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. G7 again. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Then we just repeat a C. J Guru Deva. Stay on it. J Guru Deva, as many times as you like. J Guru Deva. So that last bit, you could basically just kind of repeat that. What's it? Mantra, isn't it? You could just repeat that mantra over and over. So the hardest thing in terms of the structure of this song, I think, is just following all those little musical directions, the dasenya and the coda marks. But I'll kind of talk you through it as we go when we do the chord melody as well to help you. So as I say, it's just a way of stopping it being even longer, because already it's 5 pages with the chord melody version. And if we didn't have these senyas and codas, it would be, I think, 8 pages, which was just too much. So yeah, so there we go. Now, let's have a look at this little beautiful little introduction. And then what we'll do is we'll just have a look at some of the notation in terms of the tablature. So don't worry if you don't read sheet music, I'll talk you through this. And then we'll pair it together with the chords, which will sound really, really lovely. So I love this little intro. I'm going to kind of put it sort of a bit lower down here. Let's see if I can make it kind of go to the corner a little bit. So yeah, that'll probably do it. Okay, so we've got this gorgeous introduction, which is just based on notes that harmonise together. So 2 notes played at the same time. So we're going to start by putting our fingers down on frets 4 and 3, okay, on middle 2 frets. So it looks kind of like an A chord that's been moved down here. And for this one, we're largely going to pick this Pima style. So thumb will pick notes on a G string, index on the C, middle finger on the E, and then ring finger on the A. So when we play this first thing, you're just going to pinch those top 2 like that, okay? Just showing you that now, because when I drop my uke down, you won't be able to see that because of the tablature. All right, so we pinch those middle 2. Then we pinch the open E and the C string. Then we put down this, it looks like a G chord, okay? And we're going to pinch the C string and A string at the same time. So using 2 fingers like this. Okay. Then we take away our finger. Then we put down an E minor shape, and we start off by playing the bottom 2 strings with these 2 fingers. And then the middle 2 strings. Okay. So that all comes out of an E minor shape. Okay. So if I put that first measure together, it'll sound something like this. So now that lovely? Really, really sweet. Oh, Wayne was just asking, can I, when I say verse and chorus, can I give you the corresponding measures for each? Yeah, I'll do that in a second, Wayne, when we look at the verse. Yeah, good point. So you know which bits are the verse and chorus. Yeah, no worries. I'll do that in a sec for you. I'll do that in a sec. So one more time, we're going to do that A shape, bottom 2 of a C, C and A string, E minor shape. And then this next bit's really pretty. You just keep your finger on this G note, 3rd fret of the E string, and you just go between that and the A string like this. Okay, you just do that 8 times. Notice they're all even notes. So I put that together really slowly. Okay, it will look and sound like this. Let's go a bit slower actually. 3 and 4 and... I like to just quieten down as I do the last bit. When we do the chord melody, we'll introduce some chords there as well, which would be really, really lovely. Now, let's have a look at the next part then. So we're just going to have a look at the notes. Now, we're not going to concentrate, we're not going to do the whole thing, just the notes this time, just because it's so long. But let's just do a verse and a chorus. And Wayne, quite rightly so, was asking which bits are the verse and which bits are the chorus. So the first verse starts from where you've got that C chord on this measure here, and it goes right through to measure number, the end of measure 11, where you've got the Senya mark. All right, you can see the double bar line, so that bit is going to be your first verse. Okay, and the verses are the bits with the kind of lovely flowing lyrics. John Lennon wrote this. He was trying to get to sleep one night and his wife was nattering at him in bed, and he said that her words were flowing like an endless stream, and he was like, oh, that's a great idea for a song. And then he went downstairs and wrote the lyrics and made it a bit more mystical. But yeah, it was, rather than anything too mystical, it was just John Lennon trying to get to sleep, which I think is funny. So let's have a look at just playing a few of these notes. Now, you can kind of think about them in terms of notation, in terms of how long they are. So, for instance, we've got 2 quavers. And then we've got a semi-quaver, so quicker. Okay, so da, 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 da. Okay, and then we rest that one, and then we go to this B note here. And then an open A. And a G, and we do that twice. Okay, let me move that again, so we're really looking at that first measure, so I can move that out of the way there. Look, now don't worry if you think, oh my goodness, I don't know crotchets and quavers and how long I hold those for. That's going to be impossible, right? But what you can do is just kind of put the words in your mind as you do it. Words are flowing out like endless raining. Okay, see how that's kind of helping me keep it in time. Let's just do it really slowly together. So we've got all these 3 C notes. 2nd fret. Okay. Then an open A, G note here on the 3rd fret. Yeah, that's it. Let's just keep going with that kind of that way of doing things. So next measure, measure 5. Notice we keep our fingers here and we just go between the A string and the E string. Okay. Then we go to the E string and we've got 1 3 1. That's F G F. And then we finish at the end with that G7. It's really sweet because if you have a listen, I'll just play those notes for you so you can hear them from this measure up here. Now, do you notice how it kind of has that feel, doesn't it, of almost like winding and weaving? And this is, I think this is why this song appeals to me and I find it so beautiful. Ian MacDonald, in his famous book on the Beatles, Revolution in the Head, is really disparaging about this song, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And it goes just so nicely with those lyrical words. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They sliver wildly as they slip away across the universe. I mean, that's like poetry, isn't it? It's just really, really gorgeous. So if you struggle with keeping time on this one, and there are lots of weird time changes and stuff, just have John Lennon in your mind. So we'll do that really slowly and I'll show you what I mean. So in fact, I'll just hold my uke up here so you can see what I'm saying as well. So I would go really slowly and just say the words as I play. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They sliver wildly as they slip away across the universe. Okay, so you can take it slow and you can just do it like that yourself, working through, just thinking about those words. Let's try from this measure here at the end. Okay, it's basically the same thing again, isn't it, almost? So we start with all these C notes, the threes, and this time we've got pools of sorrow. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy. Okay, then we go to the next measure. Okay. Drifting through my open mind then. And then we've got the possessing and caressing me, 1-3. Possessing and caress. And there it goes down. C to that D note. I'll do that again because I was trying to read the words and play the notes at the same time. I'll take the words, so just follow along as we go. 2, 3, 4. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are crashing through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Yeah, cool. Fantastic. So that's the notation for the verse. If you want to just strum that, let's just do it quickly. I know we did it at the start, but 2, 3, 4. Words are flowing out like sorry, I'll do that a bit slower. 3, 4. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They sliver as they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my opened mind, possessing and caressing me. Go, yeah. Then we get to our Jai Guru Deva bit. So this is the chorus. So when we get to the double bar line on that C chord, this is the chorus, the Jai Guru Deva. Let me move it up. So again, we're just going to pick these with whichever finger is on the correct string. We're going to go really nice and slowly, and we're going to do 3 off 3. That's G, E, G, and then 3 down here for a high C. I like to use my first finger for the 2, this B note, because then I can reach up my little finger to this 5, which is a high D. That will look like this. Try it with me after 4, 2 and 3 and 4. The next measure's nice because we've just got 1 G note count left ringing for the whole measure pretty much. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go up to these high D notes, 5th fret, 3, 5, down to this one. A whole measure with nothing. And then we go to the 3rd fret here. Okay, that takes us into the next page. We're going to do basically the same thing again up here at the top, so at the 5s. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Now, in terms of the notation, that's basically the entire song, because that gives you a verse and a chorus. And remember, they basically just repeat between the two things. So I won't go over the whole piece of music note by note, because we'll do that when we do the actual chord melody version in just a minute. But what I would recommend, if you're watching this on a replay or you come back to this later, and I would recommend working on this for a good few weeks to make sure you're really, really comfortable with it. What I'd recommend is just playing the melody all the way through the song once on its own. I always like to do that. Just play the chords on their own and sing, then just play the melody. And then when you're feeling confident with it, then we put the two together and we do the chord melody. But just so I'm not still here at 8 o'clock, because otherwise that'll take too long, let's now switch to the chord melody version and we can see what's happening. I'll kind of reiterate where we are in terms of the seigneurs and the coda and all that malarkey as well. So basically, going back to Wayne's question, which he asked before we're just doing that last bit, in terms of the verses and chorus, just look for the double bar lines so you can see which is which. So we've got double bar line here, that's the verse, which goes to the double bar line down here, and that's the chorus. And the chorus carries on to the second page until double bar line on this line. Then that gives us another verse. And again, you just keep going to the next double bar line, which is here. That's the coda, that's the DS, which takes you back to here for another chorus. So I'll go in more details as we do it, but you'll see that look for those double bar lines, and that will tell you on whether you're on a verse or a chorus, basically. All right. Do ask lots of questions as well. Let me know how you're getting on so far, guys, in terms of the chords and the notation and stuff. It's a funny timing on this one as well, isn't it? Remember, this was quite a fluid song from John Lennon, so don't worry if you haven't, you're not right on the measure, because it has that kind of unfinished quality to it anyway. So don't sweat it, basically, is what I'm saying. So let's have a look at the beautiful chord melody version then. So this is where we really go to town and we play chords and melody at the same time. And we do that either by doing thumb rolls to strum down to where the melody note is in the chord, or sometimes we have to alter the chord to add the melody note in there, or sometimes we're even just going to do a pick to achieve the same thing, which you'll see. Now what I'll do, again, I'll try and bring this intro down here, and what I'll do is I'll bring my uke up so you can see what's happening with this hand for this first bit. So the start of the intro, we're going to do the same as we did when we did just the melody version a minute ago. So we've got that 4 and 3, then we go to a C shape and we just pinch the bottom 2 strings, then almost like a G major shape, and then off, and then the next 2 bits you get from an E minor chord, so bottom 2 strings and the middle 2 strings. Okay, so just a reminder that will look and sound like this. I love that, it's so sweet, isn't it? The next bit's based on a C major 7th chord, which is basically just a C major with a B note added. Don't sweat the theory too much. But it looks like this. You can either play it with these 2 fingers, or you can play it with these 2. It kind of looks like an F chord, doesn't it, that's been moved up. And what we're going to do is we're going to pinch the top 3 strings with our thumb, index and middle. And then we use our ring finger to just touch the A string lightly like this. Isn't that lovely? Then we go to a G chord, but because we want that lovely A note ringing out down the bottom, we don't put this finger down where it would normally be on a G chord, just 2 other fingers. And we do exactly the same thing with this hand. Okay, so we've got that. Now the rhythm on that one, again, there's a little bit of change here. We've got da 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 da, but you could keep it straight, would be absolutely fine as well. If you put all that together, that will sound something like this. I'll go really slow. 3 and 4 and. So it's quite nice. It's mostly played out of those chord shapes, isn't it? Which is really, really sweet and keeps things simple. Now, the next thing that I want to do is, rather than pinching all of these chords, I want you to strum some of them. I'll show you what I mean. So in this first bit, the first C chord that we've got, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strum down with the nail of my index finger, and then pick up either with that finger or any other, and then I strum down and strum down on the C major 7. The reason I'm doing that is the melody notes are these high Cs. Words are flowing out like... Okay, it's all on the A string, isn't it? And if I kind of pinch that and I pinch all the strings at the same time, you don't really hear this C note coming out. So that's why I'm using a down strum. You could use your thumb if you prefer, but I'm just using a down strum so that the last note that sticks in your ear is this high C note. Then we just go here for a C major 7, just move that finger back. Okay, so that first proper measure, if you like, is just this. Then we pick an open A. And this time we're going to play another type of C major 7. This time it kind of looks a little bit like an E minor that's been moved up towards your nose. And notice we're on frets 5, 4 and 3. Okay. So you just pinch that and hit the open A. Now this next bit's really simple. It sounds really lush, but it's really, really dead simple what's happening. We've got this shape, which is suggesting an E minor 7th. An E minor 7 would look like this. Okay. But we're just keeping this part down. Think of it as a D minor that's been moved up to. So 4, 4, 3. And the great thing about it is all you need to do is just pinch the top 3 strings and then hit the A string with another finger like this. If I bring it here so you can see what's happening with this hand. Okay. And then if I bring it down here so you can see both hands. Again, you can, rather than worrying about crotchets, quavers and all that, you can just think about sliver wildly as they slip. You can kind of just have the words in your head as we go there. Okay. Then we bring that shape back, exactly the same shape, but to a D minor, and we pinch the top 2 again. But this time the melody note goes here to this G note. So can you see how I'm kind of having to add this little finger on and off? This is measure 6 now, guys. Let's try putting that all together. I'll do it once slowly so you can hear it, and then you guys join in. Let's try that all together after 4. Give it your best shot. From the C chord here at the end on measure 4. Okay, let's start on measure 4. 3 and 4 and down to the D minor chord. Add your little finger for this G. And then to finish off, we go to that G shape again. You could, if you're coming out of this G minor 7, just leave these 2 fingers down. Or you can think of it as a G shape with this finger lifted up. Okay, this is the next bit. I kind of like to just keep these down. And then you finish, I like to strum that G7, which sounds really nice. So that last bit, when you get to the G chords, will kind of look and sound like this. Go. Karen was just asking about a hammer-on. Let me just check that. So Karen was just asking, bar 6, am I hammering on the G note? I don't think so. Let me just check. I'm just going to check because sometimes I say I'm doing something and I'm not, or vice versa. Let me just check that, Karen. You could hammer it. So Karen's talking about measure 6 when you put this little finger for the G note. Am I hammering it? But I'm not. I'm actually playing it as an individual note, Karen, so. Again, you can kind of have those kind of words in your head if it helps as well when you get to that G bit. So slip away across the universe. Okay, let's try it from the top, really, really slowly. I'll stay on close cam and I'll sing the words as well to help with the timing. That should help. Thanks, Karen. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Okay, so right from the top, this goes super slow. I'm trying to think of a way of keeping this on the screen, but so you can see what my hand does. I think that will do it. Yeah, that will do it. Okay, so let's have a go really slowly. 3 and 4 words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slip. Sorry, I went wrong there. They sliver wildly as they slip away across the universe. Notice when I do that strum at the end, it kind of creates a break because we've had all these pinched chords. Sorry. And it's like almost like a nice full stop at the end, which is really pretty. Now, I'm not expecting everyone to get that straight away, guys, because there's a lot going on there, right? You've got to think about the chord melody, you've got to think about the chord shapes and everything. But you take this slowly, you will get this. It's one of those ones that looks really overly complex, but actually when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, it's mostly just holding down the right chord shape and just going between that and the A string. That's mostly what happens in the verses. So it's not too bad once you get into it, I promise. It just appears a bit tough at first, and practice makes perfect. So don't worry if you haven't got it right now. Just know you can practice it and you'll get this, okay? Let's have a look. Let's go on to the second half of the verse then. So from measure 8, basically, we're going to look at this next bit. Starts off in exactly the same way, right? So we've got another one of these strummed down. I like to strum these, you could pinch them. then down to the 2nd fret, and then I start pinching rather than strumming here on this funny C5 chord. It's like a C with this G added in. And then this time, rather than doing the whole D minor shape, we've just got these 2 fingers down. See that 0, 4, 3. Now you could keep those 3 down. Doesn't really make much of a difference, to be honest. Then we go to that D minor like we did before. And then we go straight to this next measure, which is based on an F minor chord, which looks like this. The nice thing for us is we only need these 2 down. We don't have to worry about the A string, so it's a bit easier. So we pinch, open E, and then just put that finger on the 2nd fret and pinch. Okay. So if you can do a roll here like this, it sounds really nice. What I'm doing there, this is the 1, 0, 1 bit. What I'm doing there, let me just move this just temporarily. What I'm doing there is I'm hitting the G string, then the C string, then the E string one at a time, rather than pinching like this. I'm doing a roll. Okay. And a lot of people, they do all sorts of clever things with this. They try and think about peeling off your fingers and all sorts of kind of funny techniques and stuff. But the easiest way to think about a roll, and I struggled with these for years, is to just think 1 string at a time and start slow, then a bit faster, then a bit faster, and you're basically there. Okay, so don't worry, don't try and peel off and do all sorts of funny things. Just think 1, 2, 3. Whoops. And make sure that finger's towards the right fret, otherwise you get a nasty buzz like I just did. So isn't that lovely? Okay, let's bring the sheet music back on and then let's try that 2nd half of the verse together. You can either play with me or just listen to how it sounds to get an idea, but I'm going to go from the start of this line here. All right, so we hold our C down, 2, 3, 4. Notice that funny change in the time signature there, because that measure with the D minor is only for 2 beats. 1 and 2 and that's one of the reasons this song sounds a bit funny. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? There's all sorts of stuff going on with this. And that's basically, that's the whole of the first verse. We'll keep going because we'll play another verse in a minute, so you get to practice it all over again. All right, so we'll just keep going. Let's have a look at this bit here, which starts on the last measure of that 3rd line. This is where the chorus comes in. So we've got various types of C chords, and again it's just based on picking down to where the melody note is. So the melody note in this first C chord, where it says 5, 4, 3, is this note here, this G note. And if you think about it, J, J, Guru, Deva, it makes sense. That would be the first note, wouldn't it? So we want that note to really stand out. That's why when we do this C major 7th chord, which would normally look like this, it's a horrible chord if you're strumming it. You can just play it like that, but we're playing this version. The nice thing is we only need these 3 fingers down. So think of it like an E minor that's been moved up. You can either thumb strum, or you can do one of those nice rolls, or just make sure this note rings out. For the next 2 notes, the E and G, just take it off and on. So you've got this. And if I come over here so you can see this hand, let's see if I can twist it so you can see. Then I like to strum down on this C chord, hit the 2nd fret, and then take your finger up to the 5th fret, back to 3. I like to pick up and then strum down. Okay, Okay, that's your J Guru Deva. That will sound like this. Let's try that together. 2, 3, 4. Really nice. One more time. 3, 4. Down to 2, 5, 3, and strum. Now after that, do you notice how we've got some 0, 0, 0s at the end of measure 13? That's just kind of filling in chords. What I've done is I've made those kind of filling in chords. I've made them quavers, and you notice that we're only strumming the top 3 strings. Really, you're just filling in a gap here. So there's various things you could do, and then I'll show you exactly what I do. So you could just hit the chord once, so it sounds like this. Sorry. And then just hit a light strum, or you can do some down strums, which is what I've got there. That will look like this. See how light those last ones were? I'm basically just strumming a C as light as I can with the nails. Okay. Let's try that really slowly from the J Guru Deva, start of start of this measure here. Really nice and slow. 3, 4. J Guru Deva. Strum, strum, strum. Yeah. Let's keep going. Next we've got D minor 7, but the melody note is this G note. So it looks a bit weird. It looks like a reverse D minor, doesn't it? Like a D minor the wrong way around. And the reason being is we need a D minor 7th chord, which looks like this. But we need this note to ring out because we need this nice G note. Because that's our Okay. So what we do is we just strum down. You can either do a roll like this, or you can strum down with your thumb. Or sometimes I just like to strum down with the nail of my finger. And then for the next few, just strum very lightly. Okay, so. Okay. And that's just filling it in. You don't have to strum 4 times, you could keep it even more simple. Okay, so from the start of the chorus now, going into the D minor bit, that will sound like this. J Guru Deva. Oh, I moved that finger over by accident. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, like that. Then we go to this really interesting chord, which is based on a G7 chord. Now, you know how you can kind of play ukulele chords all over the fretboard, can't you? You can play a G7 here, you can play it here, you can play it here. There's all sorts of different places where you can play different chords. And this one is based on this G7 shape here. It's actually easier than this. I'm just showing you what it's based on, so don't panic when you see this. This is basically an F7 chord that's been moved up to become a G7. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to play, we're going to keep this G string open, so we don't need this finger. And it makes sense because a G7 chord has a G note in it, so you can do it. So in effect, the way I play this next one is I just hold down, it kind of looks like a G7 shape that's been moved up and stretched apart. So you're at 3 and 5 like that. Does that make sense? So first finger there, and then middle 2 fingers up here on the 5th fret. Okay. And you can strum down all the way with your thumb or your nail like this. Okay. And then just pick the A string, I think is it 3 times afterwards. Okay. Now you could just pick with one finger like this, or even your thumb. I think this is a really good chance to practice your alternating fingers, where you pick 3 fingers on the same string. And the way I do that is I strum down and then I pick with my ring, middle and index. Just creates this lovely smooth chord transition, which is lovely. Then we take it back to a G7 down here, but we leave this ring finger, rather than being on this fret, it's on the 3rd fret here. And that's because the melody note is this C note. Okay. Little finger up to 5. And then back to a G7 shape, but just the top 3. And after that, a whole measure of just lightly strumming, that's all it is. So it's easier when you hear this all in context. If I go from this stretched G7. Whoops, wasn't very clean that last one, but you get the idea. Okay, do that again. And again, if you're worried about the timing, just sing the words in your head. Nothing's gonna change my world. Yeah, you got it. And then basically, we've nearly done most of the song because it's a lot of repetition from here. So next bit, we're going to do an F chord, but the melody note is this C note. And that's why we're adding it. Otherwise, you get an A note instead. So an F chord, but with either this finger or this finger added. And you do exactly the same thing here. You can alternate the fingers or just hit it with one. Nothing's gonna... And then we're going to go and put our ring finger here on the 2nd fret. Change. And that's because this note is the melody note, this B. Change my... And then just take everything off. World. Okay. The next bit is an exact repeat of that. We got a stretchy G7. Nothing's gonna change back to here. Change my world. F with that C added. Nothing's gonna change my all open world. Yeah, well done guys. Let me know how you got on with that. Again, don't panic if you don't get it straight away. As long as you know how to do it, that's the important thing. You can practice it later on and get it sounding really, really tight. The great thing about this song is there's so much repetition that once you've got that, basically you can play the whole thing because there's just notes repeated and chords repeated. It's pretty much the same thing over and over. So what we would do then is we would come down here and we're going to do another verse. So let's do it. It gives us some really good practice, doesn't it? So let's look at this next bit. So the next verse is from the measure 23, where we've got the double bar line, to the bottom of the page where we've got the double bar line. So you've already done this. It's pretty much the same as before, only sometimes the across the universe is a little bit shorter. Sometimes it's across the universe, whereas other times we've got that little bit of extra away across the universe. Sometimes you've got an extra word in front of it, but otherwise it's the same. I'll show you what I mean. Close cam so you can see what's going on. So we've got this C chord again. I'm just going to strum all the way. Just move down to C major 7 here. 0, 0, 3. Then we've just got this nice D minor shape up at 4 and 3, and we're just pinching between the top 3 strings and the A string. Bring it down to a D minor for the last chord of that measure, going into 25. And then this half a G shape, and then strum the G7. Then we do it exactly, it's all the same again, look. So strum a C, 7 again, strum a C major 7, and then this 5-4-3. This is a little bit harder, isn't it? That E minor shape before we're doing before. Take that back to a D minor shape. Add that little pinky down. And then just keep these two down for that G5. Strum G7. You got it! You got it! That's basically the next verse. So it's kind of repeating what we've already done, and that's the brilliant thing about this song. Once you get into the hang of which shapes go where, it's great. There's so many bits that you've done before and you can just repeat, which is really nice. So just as a bit of a recap, just to remind everyone. So we've done the intro, we've done the verse, which is the first lot of double bars to here. Then we've done the chorus, which takes us down to the next lot of double bars on this line. And then we've done another verse, which takes us to the bottom here. Now, this is where we get our first musical direction. And you could write this down actually on your sheet if you want, where it says DS al coda. DS means da segna. I think that's spelled D-A and then new word S-E-G-N-O. I think that's how you spell it the Italian way. Al coda. So that stands for to the segna mark and then to the coda. So what we do at this moment is we go back to the first page where you see that little segna mark. It's the one that looks a bit like a snake with a percentage mark going through it, if it makes sense. No worry, Angela. You can always come back to the replay when you want. So hope you're doing well and enjoying it. Everything you've learnt so far, there's no new stuff anyway, Angela. It's just kind of going over the structure now. So you're done grand. So at this point, we go back to that segna mark, that kind of weird looking shape there at the end of measure 11. And we do another chorus. So let's do it. Let's actually physically do this chorus. So we've got this 5-4-3 again. We're going from just here, last measure here. 5-4-3. C chord. Back to 2. Up to 5. Little finger for this one. Back to 3. And you can do some light strums. Then we go back to this odd D minor shape. It looks like this, 3 in a row, and you just strum the top 3. Very light strumming. Okay. Then we've got that funny G7 again. Looks like this G7 that's been kind of spread apart. Back to this G7 but with our finger on 3. Up to 5. And G7 but don't play the bottom string. And then, next page, say we go to an F chord with this C added, like so. Whoops, I'll do that again. Down to the 2nd fret here, 3rd fret, and then all open. Now, talking about that repetition, we have exactly the same thing again. Stretched out G7 at 3 and 5. Back to G7, finger on 3. Little finger. And then back to this one. Repeating again what we've just done. F chord with the C added. Finger on 2nd fret. Up to 6 and open. All right, really good. We're really getting there now. We're nearly there. In fact, you've played everything. We're just going through the motions now, which is fantastic. Thanks, Wayne. Thank you. Really appreciate that, mate. And you can always come back to this, guys, anytime. You can watch the replay whenever you want. So don't panic if you're not quite there yet. Okay, so we've gone back, we've done the segna thing. Now, notice down here it said da segna al coda. So that means you go back to that segna mark, and then when you reach the word to coda, see at the end of measure 21, then you go to the coda. So after the second time you play this page, only play up to where it says to coda, and then we basically, the good thing is here on out we just play the sheets. We just drop to this next page which has that target mark, and we just keep going. And even if you get lost, don't worry, just think you're either playing a verse or a chorus and you'll be fine. I'm only being pedantic doing it this way because some of the verses are different, but you could just play that verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus for as much as you want. It'd be absolutely fine. All right, let's just go from here then. Top of this page, guess what? You've already done it. Another verse. Let's try it. So C chord, down to C major 7, 5, 4, 3 looks like this. Then that D minor shape moved up. Back to D minor, and you're going to add this little finger down. And then we've got another one of those nice little rolls. Looks like that, 1, 0, 1. And then put it on the second fret. And then this time that doesn't lead to a chorus. We do another verse. C chord, C major 7, 5, 4, 3. This shape again. Down to a D minor, little finger coming down. Partial G7 and strum a 4 G7. Okay. That takes us to measure 39. I forgot to put a double bar line in here, so at the end of measure 38 we're into another chorus. Okay, and you'll hear it when we play it. So 5, 4, 3 again, lift off and on, C chord, down to 2, 5, 3, and strum. Then this funny reverse D minor 7 shape, and just strum that a few times. Stretchy G7 shape, back to here, and top 3 over. Then F chord with this C added, back to the second fret, and then open. Stretchy G7 again. This is the last measure of this page. Back to here with your finger on 3, 5, top 3 just out in the G7 shape. F chord with a C added again. Add that 2. And all open. And you're basically there. This last bit from measure 50 is just the Jai Guru Deva over and over. So we do this 5, 4, 3, lift off and on, C chord, 2, 5, and then you strum, and you can just do. And you can do that as many times as you like. Notice there's those repeat marks, so just that last bit as many times as you want, and then you can end it just by pinching the G, C strings together. So that bottom line will sound like this. I'll just do it once rather than all the repeats. There you go. You got it. You got it. Oh, don't know why I made it tiny. But yeah, that's it. That's everything you need to play this one. Now, as I always say, take it slowly. The best thing to do is if you just concentrate on one section at a time. So really work on that intro. Weirdly, the intro is the thing that I find hardest, even though it's probably one of the simpler things to play. But yeah, practice that intro again and again. Once you've got that, practice a verse. Make sure you're really, really comfortable with that. Then practice a chorus, and then you can start to piece it all together. I'm going to stay around for any questions, but what I think I'll do is I'll just play the whole thing through one more time so you can hear it. I won't be able to change between the screens quick enough with my fingers, so I'll see if I can bring it up on my computer. And then you can have one more listen, or if you feel ready, you can have a play along. I wouldn't expect you guys to be playing it along yet, so don't panic if that seems like a crazy thing to say. You can just have a go if you fancy it, or not if you don't. Let's see if I can find. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the sheets so I can bring them up on my screen. And I'll take any questions at the end as well. So if there's anything you're not sure of, just let me know, and I will be here to help. Make those 2 pages. 2 pages. There we go. Okay. I'll probably get this all in the wrong order and muck it up, but fingers crossed not. I'll tell you when we jump in here, there and everywhere. And you can follow it with your eyes as much as anything. Okay, there we go. Isn't it, Karen? Karen's just saying how she loves it. It's kind of very meditative, and I totally agree. It's got that lovely feel to it, hasn't it? Which is really nice. And don't forget, if you're dropping off before the Q&A at the end, don't forget to give us a like on YouTube so we can keep that algorithm going and go up even higher. Thanks, guys. So from the top, 2, 3, 4. Measure 8. And then our roll, and then our first chorus. Funny D minor, stretchy G7. To F and open, stretchy G7, F with the C added, now we got the next verse C chord, D minor, strum down G7, next bit, down to D minor, back to the first page where we got that senya mark, okay? Funny D minor, stretchy G7, second page again, F chord, stretchy G7, F chord, now you see it says 2 coda, so jump to the next page 31. D minor, roll, measure 35, next one down. this is another chorus. Stretchy G7. F chord with a C. Open. Last measure of that page, G7. Whoops, that was me. And then the final page. And then the very last line we can repeat a few times. And again. Let's do it 2 more. And then perhaps slow down. Well done, everyone. I just think that's such a beautiful song. I know I say this about everything. It's generally, because I tend to pick the music that I love. So I really do mean it. It's very rare I do a piece of music that I hate, because what's the point, right? You're not going to enjoy it and it's not going to be fab. So I really mean it when I say it. I just think that's beautiful. And I don't mean my arrangement. I mean John Lennon's song. It's just actually absolutely wonderful, isn't it? Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's one of those ones that looks incredibly complex on page, but once you get the hang of all those shapes, you'll be right as rain. You'll get it. No problem at all. So let me know if you're still around. Let me know how you got on before you disappeared. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. I think I'm going to do this one at Shriekfest, Sarah. So you'll get to see this live all over again. You'll know what's coming. I'll have to put a surprise chord in there or something. But that's going to be loads and loads of fun. If anyone's interested, I think there's still a few tickets left for Shriekfest. It's in Shrewsbury, kind of just on what is it? Is it the east? I'm trying to think whether it's Wales or not. Is Shrewsbury Wales? I'm really embarrassed. I'm not sure. I think it's on the border, but yeah, you get that. Rebecca says, I can't imagine there's any music you hate. Well, ask me after a few glasses of wine and I'll tell you the truth. So yeah. Probably just there's not much. I'm not big into heavy metal or kind of or grime and stuff like that. I appreciate its beauty and why people would like it and everything, but it's just too much for me. In fact, even like the old Britpop stuff I used to listen to in the 90s, I find it a little bit like all the guitars are too fuzzy and stuff for me. I think that's why I go back to the Beatles, because it's really good. You know, a lot of it's R&B and stuff, but really nice clean sound, which I think is really great and really tight. So yeah, that's it. Thanks guys. Thank you. No worries at all. Well, just a couple of reminders. If you enjoyed that, there's a whole Beatles for You course over on my website. So there's 15 lessons so far, covering all sorts of songs. Some of them they're not all as complex as this. Some of them are just strummed and sung songs and things like that. So it should suit all levels. But there are some complex chord melodies and stuff, if you enjoyed this, that you'll enjoy. So you can either just, the easiest way is if you just go to the website. If you sign up as a member, it's £10 for silver subscription or 12 for gold, where you get absolutely everything. Hundreds of arrangements. There's 10 whole courses up there now. All sorts of stuff. mattsteadukulele.com or learnukulelewithmatt.com. And there you'll find the Strawberry Fields one I did last time, which is a really fun one as well. So yeah, maybe heavy metal, Karen, that I don't love. I don't know. That's good, Karen. That's good. Believe it or not, though, I used to be into Iron Maiden when I was young. In fact, I had a teenage phase, right, where I used to wear a denim jacket, and I used to go down to Tewkesbury Market. They had this little indoor market, and there was one stall that sold like all the music badges, you know, like all the patches and stuff like that. And he used to sell the really big metallic badges for Iron Maiden, you know, of like the monster faces and that of Eddie, and you know, all this cool stuff. So I used to have a denim jacket covered in Iron Maiden badges, and maybe a bit of Black Sabbath as well. So R.I.P. Ozzy. He was a great musician, even if he was completely nuts. So yeah, maybe heavy metal, but I can't listen to it anymore. It just my old ears, they hurt when I listen to music like that now, and death metal and all that. I just can't. I'm quite lucky that my kids are into fairly gentle music. So Sandy loves her pop. She's into Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift, Chapel Roan, and I love them too. So that's always good. So yeah, I haven't had to listen to any death metal yet. So remember, if anyone's got any performances coming up now, this doesn't have to be like a big performance, you know, of playing a big stage or even an open mic or whatever. But if you want to have a go at some open mic performances and you're feeling really nervous, or if you just want to record a video of yourself, perhaps for one of my video submissions, and you're really scared about doing it, or if you just want to play for your family, a real big issue in the ukulele world, and well, in any music world, is overcoming those nerves when you're performing. So I've created some nice worksheets of some advice. Now, some of it is general stuff, but a lot of it is personal to me as well. So it's kind of my own way that I've dealt with things over the years. So there's quite a lot of personal stuff in there as well. I've got some worksheets on how to best avoid kind of anxiety and nerves when you're performing, and some practical tips to help as well. And then what we're going to do is have a Q&A on that in 2 weeks' time for our live lesson. So if you've got any questions whatsoever you want to send over to me, just email me at matt@mattsteadukulele.com. That's matt@mattsteadukulele.com. Or you can put some questions in the comments on Facebook as well. So yeah. That's me too, to be honest, Karen. I feel the fear and do it anyway, as they say. So I'm exactly the same. I'm lucky when I record my videos. What you don't see is usually it's like take 37. So I still get nervous when I play the piece. You know, like today where I say, I'll just show everyone how it goes. And then normally I bumble up the third measure or whatever, you know, it just happens. So just know that everyone's the same. You know, I've met some of the greats, you know, James Hill and Sarah Maisel and all these people, Jake Shimabukuro, and they all feel the same as well. They've just learnt all these coping mechanisms. So don't panic. We're all with you. We're all the same. All right. Next thing that's coming up is this Monday. We've got a melodic Monday, so if you enjoyed that chord melody, we're going to be learning, it's one of my favourites this Monday. I'm really excited. We're going to do Henry Mancini's Moon River. So I'll teach you to play Moon River in this lovely chord melody style. It's a really beautiful arrangement to play that one. I think you'll enjoy that. And then the week after, we'll have our Canacapilla, where I teach you to play by ear. And funny enough, talking of Chapel Roan and Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo, we're going to have a Women in Pop Canacapilla for the next one, which is going to be some of those players, which is going to be great. So, yeah. Rebecca says she's fine playing for 5 or 6-year-olds, but not for grown-ups. Maybe that's a coping mechanism, Rebecca. Maybe you got to close your eyes and just pretend you're playing to that group of 5-year-olds. I know what you mean, though. Yeah. I cut my teeth playing Bounce and Rhyme and Story time back in the day. So yeah, the first song I ever learnt on uke was "The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long." All that. So yeah. That was me back in the day. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to tell you about. I think that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me for a lovely afternoon. I really enjoyed your company, guys. And it was so nice to have you all there whilst I taught. And again, thanks for all your support. I really, really, really appreciate it. Karen gets nervous even with the littlies, but does it because they're so forgiving. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Exactly right. And Sarah sang on her own at the Go Away Festival crowd in open mic. Yeah, nice. It's always easier after a few Guinnesses, isn't it? Absolutely, yeah. I don't really drink too much anymore, but I always used to have 2 pints before I went on stage because it was just enough to take the nerves away. But if I ever had 3 pints, then I started making loads of mistakes because I was starting to get a bit tipsy and I'd just go wrong. So 2 pints is like the perfect amount for me if I'm ever going on stage and having a drink. Right, on that bombshell, I shall love you and leave you folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful few days and I'll catch you on Monday for the next Melodic Monday, if not before. Take care everyone, much love and bye.